When she ignores you, it's easy to feel confused, frustrated, or even desperate. It's like you've been left out in the cold, and you start second-guessing everything you've done, wondering where it all went wrong. But here's the truth. When she pulls back, it's not the end of the world. How you handle this situation can make all the difference between pushing her further away or sparking her interest again. Too many guys make the mistake of chasing, pleading, or overanalyzing. They get lost in their emotions, reacting in ways that only make things worse. But here's the hard-hitting reality. When a woman ignores you, it's not a cue for you to fall apart or beg for her attention. It's your opportunity to step up, stay in control, and master the dynamics of attraction. What you do next will either elevate you in her eyes or completely turn her off. The last thing you want is to make the common mistakes that send her running in the opposite direction. You don't have to lose your cool or beg for validation. Instead, you need to take the high road, show confidence, and let her see that you're a man who isn't shaken by a little distance. This isn't about playing games, it's about understanding how women think and how to approach them in a way that's authentic, powerful, and attractive. If you've been in a situation where she's gone cold or gone silent, this video is for you. I'm going to walk you through 7 things you should never do when she's ignoring you. Get ready to take control of your dating life and stop making the mistakes that are keeping you stuck. Let's dive in. 1. Chasing her is a guaranteed turn-off. When she starts ignoring you, one of the biggest mistakes you can make is chasing her. I get it. It's frustrating to feel like you're being shut out, and your instincts might tell you to go after her harder, send more texts, or make more calls. But trust me, this is exactly what will push her further away. Chasing signals desperation, and desperation is never attractive. Women are drawn to men who can stand strong, who don't fold under pressure, and who maintain their value even when things get tough. You've probably heard the saying, distance makes the heart grow fonder. This isn't just a cute phrase, it's a psychological reality. When you chase a woman, you're not allowing her the space she needs to miss you, to think about you, or to want you back. Instead, you're crowding her. And when a woman feels crowded, she starts to view you as a source of pressure, not attraction. You're telling her, whether you realize it or not, that you don't have anything better to do with your time and that your world revolves around her. This isn't about ignoring her altogether, but about giving her the space she's clearly signaling for. When she pulls away, it's your job to hold your ground and avoid over-communicating. Instead of sending her endless texts, asking where she's been or why she's distant, take a step back. When she feels that you're not chasing her, that's when the emotional pull begins to shift in your favor. If you stop chasing, you're signaling that your value isn't tied to her attention. This move may seem counterintuitive, but it works. Women respect men who can be patient, who have the strength to step back and not chase. It's a signal that you're comfortable in your own skin, that you're not desperate for her validation, and that you're not waiting around for her approval. And that confidence, that's incredibly attractive. So when she starts to ignore you, resist the urge to send that next text or make that phone call. Instead, use the space to reevaluate the situation. What do you want from her? What do you bring to the table? Are you truly valuing yourself, or are you bending to her mood swings? Chasing her won't bring you closer. It will only build a wall between the two of you. Hold your ground and let her come to you when she's ready. Now is the time for you to show that you're the man who doesn't chase, who doesn't need to beg. You've got value and you know it. And when you act like that, she'll start to see it too. 2. Reacting emotionally will make you look weak. One of the most damaging things you can do when she ignores you is to react emotionally. I know it's tough. You feel hurt, frustrated, confused, and maybe even angry. But here's the thing, emotional reactions, whether they come out as desperation, anger, or excessive sadness, never work in your favor. When you let your emotions take over, you make yourself look weak, and weakness is a huge turnoff. It doesn't matter how deep your feelings are. You cannot allow her to see how much her behavior is affecting you. Women want a man who is emotionally stable. They are attracted to men who can keep their cool even in the face of discomfort. When you react emotionally to her ignoring you, it sends a signal that you are unable to handle your own emotions. You're giving her control over your state of mind, and no woman is going to respect a man who can't control himself. Imagine this. You send her a message saying, "Why aren't you texting me back? What's going on?" Or worse, "Are you seeing someone else?" Now you've gone from a confident man with options to someone who is on the verge of a meltdown. Women don't want to deal with emotional turmoil. They don't want to carry the weight of your insecurities or be the source of your emotional roller coaster. What does reacting emotionally do? It forces her to take a step back. You're now the one in a vulnerable position, hoping she'll take pity on you and come back. The truth is, that's not the kind of relationship you want. If she's going to return, it should be because she sees you as a man who is in control of his life, not because you've begged her to reconsider. Instead of reacting emotionally, take a breath, step back, and refocus your energy. Acknowledge that you are in control of your own emotions. You don't need her approval to feel good about yourself. This doesn't mean you should bottle up your feelings or become cold and distant. What it means is that you need to process your emotions privately, not in front of her. Keep your dignity intact. When you stay emotionally calm, even when she's ignoring you, you give off an air of strength. You're saying, "I can handle this. I don't need you to validate me." And that is an incredibly powerful message to send. She may not realize it immediately, but over time, she'll begin to respect you more for your ability to keep your composure. She'll realize that your worth doesn't hinge on whether or not she responds right away. You are already whole, and she needs to see that. Being emotionally stable isn't about pretending nothing bothers you. It's about showing that you can be unaffected by temporary emotional disruptions. A man who is emotionally stable is a man who is truly attractive because he's self-reliant, self-assured, and doesn't let external events dictate his sense of value. And when she sees this, you become the type of man that women respect and want to be around. 3. Over-communicating will push her away. Another mistake you don't want to make when she ignores you is over-communicating. I get it. You feel the urge to text her again and again, to call, to reach out on social media, just trying to get some kind of response. But here's the reality. Over-communicating only amplifies the problem and makes things worse. It shows her that you can't take a hint and that you don't respect her space. It's an immediate turn-off. When a woman starts ignoring you, she's signaling that she needs distance. And the worst thing you can do is flood her with messages, trying to get a reaction. It's like a dog chasing its own tail. Frantic and frankly pathetic. She doesn't need constant reminders that you're thinking about her. In fact, it may cause her to become more distant. The more you try to break through the silence, the more she feels overwhelmed and pressured, which only makes her pull away further. Here's the truth. If you're constantly texting, calling, or sending long paragraphs trying to get her attention, you're making her feel like she has all the power. You're not giving her the chance to miss you, to think about you, or to reconnect with you on her own terms. You're forcing the issue, and that's a major turnoff. Women are attracted to men who don't need to over-communicate to maintain interest. They're drawn to men who have the confidence to allow the connection to breathe, to let things unfold naturally. Instead of drowning her with messages, take a step back. Let her come to you. It's not about playing games, it's about respecting the natural ebb and flow of attraction. The moment you start to over-communicate, you signal that you don't have other things going on in your life. You give off the impression that she's the center of your world, and that's not the way to keep her engaged. In fact, it's more likely to push her away. Think about it. When you over-communicate, you're giving her too much attention. She might start seeing you as a guy who has nothing better to do than wait for her to reply. No woman wants to be the focal point of a man's entire existence. She wants to be part of a man's life, not the only thing in it. When you step back and stop over-communicating, you signal that you have your own life, your own interests, and your own independence. That's incredibly attractive. Take this opportunity to focus on yourself. Do things that make you happy, pursue your passions, and take care of your own well-being. When she sees that you're not constantly waiting by the phone for her to respond, she will likely start to feel that spark of curiosity. She'll start wondering what you're up to and why you're not chasing her. It's this subtle shift that can make her take a closer look at you, making her desire your attention again. So, resist the urge to over-communicate. It's not about ignoring her altogether, but about giving her space to come to you when she's ready. And when she does, she'll appreciate that you are able to remain calm, composed, and not drowning her with constant messages. That strength is what will make her want you more. 4. Being needy will drive her away faster. When she starts ignoring you, one of the worst things you can do is act needy. You may feel that if you give her more attention, more affection, or more of your time, she'll snap out of her indifference and come running back. But this couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, showing neediness will do exactly the opposite. It will make her lose interest faster than you can imagine. Neediness in a man comes from insecurity. It's the belief that you can't be whole or happy without the woman's attention, validation, or approval. When you act needy, you place her on a pedestal and you position yourself beneath her. You're signaling that you don't believe you're enough on your own, that you can't thrive unless she's constantly giving you attention. Women sense this immediately, and it makes them feel trapped, burdened, and unappreciated. And when they feel that way, they're far more likely to walk away or to become even more distant. Neediness is unattractive because it lacks independence. A woman wants a man who has his own life, his own goals, and his own sense of purpose. She's not looking for someone who depends on her to feel good about himself. She's looking for someone who can hold his own, who can bring excitement, challenge, and passion into her life, without relying on her to fulfill his every emotional need. When you show neediness, you're also showing that you don't respect her boundaries. If she's pulling away and you continue to cling, to text her constantly, or even apologize repeatedly for no reason, you're crossing a line. You're pressuring her, and pressure only creates resentment. If you want her to respect you, you need to show that you can respect her space. This doesn't mean you should completely stop showing affection, or that you should become cold and distant yourself. The key here is balance. It's about showing her that while you care for her, your sense of self-worth doesn't hinge on her attention or approval. You're a man who can stand strong on his own. You don't need her to fill your emotional void because you're already whole. Take this time to focus on yourself and work on becoming the best version of yourself. Work on your career, your hobbies, your fitness, or your social life. Become a man who has a full, interesting life, independent of her. The more you build your own world, the less you'll feel the need to seek validation from her. This shift will make you more attractive to her. Why? Because she'll begin to see you as a man who is self-sufficient, confident, and independent, exactly the kind of man she'll respect and be drawn to. Women naturally gravitate toward men who are secure in themselves, not men who are constantly chasing after them for validation. If you stop being needy and start focusing on your own growth, you will not only improve yourself as a person, but also increase your desirability. A man who is secure, independent, and in control of his emotions is always more attractive than a man who is needy, dependent, and insecure. And 5. Chasing her will make her run faster. If you want to know what will make her pull away even further, it's chasing her. That's right. When she's ignoring you, the absolute worst thing you can do is to pursue her harder. I know it sounds counterintuitive. You might think that if you just show her how much you care, how much you're willing to put in the effort, she'll come around. But this is a major mistake that many men make, and it's one that almost always backfires. When you chase her, you make it all about her. You put her on a pedestal and forget your own worth. She starts to feel like she's in control of the situation, and the more you chase, the more she will feel overwhelmed. Women are drawn to men who have boundaries and a sense of self-respect. They want a man who values himself enough to walk away if necessary, not someone who will chase them endlessly for validation. Chasing her shows desperation. and no one wants to be pursued out of desperation. It creates an imbalance in the dynamic. Instead of seeing you as a strong, independent man, she begins to see you as someone who is clinging to her approval and attention. She feels like she's the one with the power, and this disrupts the attraction. Women want a man who can live his life and still have space for them, not someone who lives and breathes only for their validation. Chasing also signals that you're not emotionally independent. If your happiness and self-worth depend on her responding to your texts or giving you attention, you're putting her in a position where she has all the power. This makes the attraction dynamic unbalanced and unhealthy. Women tend to lose respect for men who show that their emotional stability is reliant on someone else. So, what should you do instead of chasing her? Let her come to you. Stop initiating contact. Stop texting, calling, or showing up in person. It's not about being cold or distant for the sake of playing games. It's about setting healthy boundaries and allowing her space to figure out what she wants. When you stop chasing her, you give her the freedom to miss you, to wonder where you've been, and to feel the weight of her absence. This distance will allow her to reflect on the connection you once had and potentially spark a renewed interest. It's crucial to understand that attraction works best when there's some mystery, when there's some distance between you and her. When you constantly chase her, you eliminate that mystery. You're always there, always available, always giving her your attention. The moment you stop chasing, you create a space where she can now pursue you, and that's when things start to shift. She'll feel the void, and instead of you looking desperate, you'll look desirable. Men who are constantly chasing are also not living their own lives. 6. Accepting her decision is essential. One of the hardest but most necessary things you need to do when she's ignoring you is to accept her decision. This is where a lot of men get stuck. You might find yourself wanting to fight for her attention, to prove that you're the one who deserves her time, or to convince her that she's making a mistake by pulling away. But this is a huge mistake. The more you resist her decision, the more you push her away, and the more you show her that you don't respect her boundaries or her feelings. When a woman decides to pull back, it doesn't necessarily mean she doesn't care about you or that she's lost interest in you completely. Sometimes people just need space to figure things out, to process emotions, or to deal with their own personal issues. But when you ignore her decision to take that space or time and continuously try to force a connection, you show a lack of emotional maturity. Women don't want to feel like their boundaries are being disregarded. They want a man who understands when to step back and respect their needs. There's no point in trying to win her over when she's made it clear that she needs distance. Trying to force the situation often leads to more frustration for both of you. It can turn into a toxic cycle where you're constantly chasing her, trying to get a response, and she's continuously pulling away or ignoring you even more. The more you push, the more she might retreat. It's a pattern that never leads to positive results. You have to accept that sometimes the right thing to do is to give her the space she wants. When you respect her decision, you not only show emotional maturity, but you also show that you have control over your own emotions and actions. You don't need to be constantly chasing her or worrying about why she's ignoring you. The fact is, the more you try to make her change her mind, the more you risk losing respect in her eyes. Now, accepting her decision doesn't mean giving up. It doesn't mean you failed or that you're not a worthy partner. It simply means that you're showing maturity and strength by stepping back, letting things breathe, and giving her the opportunity to come back to you if she truly wants to. It's the ultimate test of confidence. It's about showing that you're not desperate or afraid of her leaving, but that you trust yourself and your own value. Once you accept that she needs space, focus on your own life and personal growth. This is your chance to improve yourself, whether it's through your career, health, or emotional development. When she sees that you can be strong and independent even without her constant attention, it will only make her see you as a more desirable man. Women are drawn to men who have a life outside of them, who are strong enough to walk away when necessary, and who can handle rejection or distance with grace. 7. Improve yourself and stay focused on your life. The final and most powerful thing you can do when she's ignoring you is to stop making her the center of your life. This might seem obvious, but many men fall into the trap of losing themselves when things get complicated in relationships. When a woman starts pulling away, it's easy to get obsessed with her and constantly think about what went wrong. However, if you want to turn the situation around and make her want you back, you need to shift the focus back to yourself. Instead of obsessing over her, start focusing on improving your own life. Whether it's working on your fitness, advancing in your career, picking up new skills, or even just making time for your hobbies, the goal is to make yourself a better, stronger, and more fulfilled man. When you're focused on growing and bettering yourself, you become less dependent on her attention and more confident in your own worth. This shift in mindset will not only help you emotionally during this time, but will also increase your overall attractiveness. Women are naturally drawn to men who have their own lives, their own purpose, and their own goals. They find it appealing when a man is not waiting around for their attention or approval, but is instead actively working on becoming the best version of himself. So stop waiting for her to come back and start living your life as if you're already complete. It's one of the most powerful things you can do, not just to regain your own self-respect, but to draw her back to you. You'll also notice that by investing in yourself, you'll feel less anxious about the situation. You'll no longer be glued to your phone, waiting for her message or wondering if she's going to reach out. Instead, you'll be fully engaged in your own growth and development, which will make you appear more attractive. Confidence, independence, and self-sufficiency are some of the most magnetic traits in a man. If she does reach out after some time, she'll see that you've changed. She'll notice that you're not the same man who was anxiously waiting for her. Instead, you'll be the man who has grown stronger and more confident in her absence. This is incredibly attractive because it shows that you don't need her to be complete. You've built your own life, and if she wants to be a part of it, that's great, but it's not a requirement. Most importantly, when you improve yourself, you stop giving your power away. Too many men lose sight of their own worth when they're in a relationship, and they start measuring their value based on how the woman responds to them. But when you build your own sense of fulfillment and happiness, no one can take that away from you. When she ignores you, don't panic or make rash decisions. Instead, respect her space, avoid desperation, and focus on improving yourself. The more you chase, the more she'll pull away. Take a step back, accept her decision, and let time and distance work in your favor. Show her that you're confident, independent, and able to thrive without her attention. If she's truly interested, your self-improvement and emotional maturity will make you more attractive, and she may return. But no matter what happens, you'll be stronger and more self-assured, ready for anything that comes your way.